This goes back to my high school days, many years ago, and it's called When I Was Fearless. It was a classic confrontation between authority figure and miscreant. September 1967, the boys' bathroom in Martin Van Buren High School in Queens, New York. Eddie Silvestri, Skinny Eddie as he was known among his greaser friends, is smoking a cigarette in the corner, half hidden by a toilet stall. I do not have a cigarette myself, but I also do not have a boys' bathroom pass. I am an illegal bathroom visitor. The door opens, and in walks a middle-aged man with a conservative herringbone three-piece suit. It is the high school principal. Allow me, at this point, a momentary pause in this high school bathroom story of 43 years ago, for I need to tell you something. It is simply this. I am not good with figures of authority. When a policeman walks near me, my throat constricts and my voice grows a tad higher, even though I have done nothing wrong. When I have a bitter complaint from my editor, I often keep it to myself. But it seems to me that I have not always been daunted by figures of power. Can I remember perhaps one authority figure from my past who failed to intimidate me? I can. It was Martin Van Buren High School principal Maurice J. Bleifeld, whose thin, delicate face, pinched expression, and exacting speech pattern seemed to belong to a man profoundly ill at ease with wielding punitive power. Mr. Bleifeld wore rimless glasses at a time when they were totally out of style. He was a fuddy-duddy. But don't allow me to paint a picture of some nebbishy fool. Despite his mild-mannered ways, he was still capable of getting a kid in deep trouble. It was just that Mr. Bleifeld wasn't completely convincing as our fearsome leader. He looked less like a disciplinarian and more like a petty bureaucrat from an old black-and-white Hollywood comedy. Beyond his meek looks and not terribly persuasive attempts at officiousness, there was one other reason I was not terrified of Maurice J. Bleifeld. I knew he had his hands full with the real bad boys, the various greasers and thugs and budding small-time criminals who inhabited our high school. I, on the other hand, was basically a good boy. I was not Mr. Bleifeld's real enemy. Did any of this reassure me as I faced Mr. Bleifeld in that boys' bathroom in the fall of 1967? Perhaps, but I was still terrified. First, Mr. Bleifeld reprimands Skinny Eddie. "Smoking is a very serious offense at Van Buren High," he intones gravely, and he carefully writes Eddie's name down in a small leather-bound book he carries in his suit jacket pocket. Eddie is dismissed. Now Mr. Bleifeld faces me. "Where is your pass?" he asks. No, I reply. I mean, I don't have a pass." "And why are you in the boys' room without a pass?" At this juncture, I must interrupt our story once again. If only to tell you that in my adolescence, I tended to be a mimic. Not a talented one, mind you, but what I lacked in skill, I made up for with enthusiasm. I often found myself talking like the star of the movies I had just seen on late-night TV, using Brando's mumble or Bogart's growl, imitating Walter Brennan's hillbilly squawk, Joseph Cotton's genteel southern accent, or the Beatles' Cockney. I especially love that old-fashioned fake upper-class American speech pattern which actors such as Lionel and John Barrymore employed. On the night before my bathroom encounter with Principal Maurice Bleifeld, I had heard on the left-wing non-commercial radio station WBAI-FM a tape of Arlo Guthrie singing Alice's Restaurant. This was months before the hit record was released. It was a tape of a live performance. It may have been the first time any radio audience had heard this tall tale of a song, and it made a powerful impression upon me, listening in my darkened bedroom late at night. And so, without planning to, I began to tell the true story of why I happened to find myself, quite against the grain of my normal lawful behavior, in the boys' bathroom without a pass. But I told the tale in an approximation of the exaggerated style and comic cadence of Arlo Guthrie's new song. "Well, you see, sir, I woke up this morning with terribly chapped lips. It was quite a dilemma. There was no chapstick in the house, but my mother told me to use a stick of what she claimed was colorless lipstick. You can't see it, it'll look fine, she promised me. And so innocently I applied this so-called colorless substance onto my lips. But when I got to my first class, a fellow student asked me why I was wearing lipstick to school. And then another kid asked me the exact same question, and I was, as you can well imagine, sir, absolutely horrified. The cadence of my speech by then is getting excited, the accent growing decidedly southern, the delivery becoming as animated as some colorful rubes, and Mr. Bleifeld begins to look at me with an expression akin to fear. So there I was, realizing at once that my own mother was not to be trusted. She had lied to me. The lipstick was not colorless. It was not undetectable. It was, I was told, some sort of pinkish white. I needed to get to the nearest mirror, and I bolted from my seat, not looking left or right, backward or forward, not even waiting to get a boys' bathroom pass, because I did not want to spend another second of the school day wearing women's lipstick. And then I paused for full dramatic effect. For as you can well understand, sir, well understand, I did not wish for people to think I was a homosexual. The last word is maniacally enunciated, stretched into a strangled shout. Principal Maurice J. Bleifeld stares at me for a long moment. He clears his throat. He looks down, and all he says is, well, maybe you should get back to class now, son. My name was not to be written down in his little leather book.